If you spend any time on Facebook or YouTube, you have almost certainly seen them by now. The scary headlines. New federal law forces every driver over 60 to pass an annual road test. Seniors will lose their licenses automatically in 2026. The DMV is coming for older drivers. These posts are everywhere right now. They are being shared millions of times, and they are frightening a lot of good people who have done nothing wrong. So today, I'm going to clear the whole thing up. 3 things specifically. First, I'm going to tell you exactly which parts of this are true and which parts are completely invented, because a huge amount of what is going around is simply false. Second, I'm going to walk you through what is genuinely changing for older drivers in 2026, including one change that just took effect this month that almost nobody is talking about. And it is actually good news for hundreds of thousands of seniors. And third, before we finish, I want to warn you about something your own doctor may be quietly required to do that could put your license under review without you ever asking for it. Before we dig in, do me one quick favor. Tap subscribe and turn on the bell. This channel is where I break down the real changes that affect your everyday life, clearly and calmly without the scare tactics. I read the actual state laws and the actual DMV notices so you do not have to. Subscribe now and let us get into it. Let us start with the rumor because it deserves a straight answer. The claim spreading online is that Washington has passed a brand new federal law requiring all older drivers to take mandatory yearly road tests, cognitive exams, and annual renewals or lose their license. Here is the truth. That law does not exist. It never has. In the United States, your driver's license has always been handled by your individual state, not by the federal government. Washington does not issue licenses, it does not renew them, and it cannot take them away. Fact checkers at Snopes, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and state DMV offices have all looked into these viral posts and traced many of them straight back to AI-generated articles that blended a few real state rules with completely made-up federal mandates. So the next time one of these posts pops up in your feed, you can scroll right past it with a clear conscience. Now here's the part they never tell you. Real changes are happening, but several of them are actually making life easier for older drivers, and those stories get almost no attention at all. Let us start with the biggest one, because it just became official this month. Illinois has raised the age for its mandatory road test from 79 all the way up to 87. For years, Illinois was the only state in the entire country that forced drivers to retake a behind-the-wheel test based purely on their age. If you turned 79 there, you had to pass a road test at every renewal, clean record or not. As of July 1, 2026, under a new law called the Road Safety and Fairness Act, that requirement is gone for everyone between 79 and 86. If you are in that age range, you will still renew in person and still pass a vision test, but the driving test is no longer automatic. To put that in perspective, roughly 350,000 Illinois drivers fall in that band, and about 55,000 of them were taking that test every year. The state's own transportation data showed these drivers were among the safest on the road, which is exactly why the rule was finally changed. So if you have been dreading that renewal, or worse, thinking about giving up your keys just to avoid the test, please check the new rules. It may no longer apply to you. California made a similar quiet change that a lot of people still have not heard about. The state dropped the written knowledge test, the paper exam, for drivers 70 and older as long as your record is clean. Plenty of seniors are still showing up to their appointment nervous about a written test they no longer have to take, simply because nobody told them it was gone. You will still need to come in for a vision check and a new photo, but that written exam is off the table for most people. So what is actually true across the rest of the country? There is no single national answer, and that is the whole point. The rules depend entirely on where you live. Most states begin adding requirements at one of three ages: 65, 70, or 75. Arizona shortens your renewal cycle and asks for in-person visits starting around 65. California, Iowa, and Nevada begin blocking online renewal in your late 60s or at 70. Virginia, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island tighten up at 75. Texas moves you to in-person renewal with a vision test at 79. Florida requires a vision test at every renewal once you hit 80 and shortens your license cycle. And several states, including Texas and Indiana, switch you to a shorter 2-year renewal at 85. Here is my honest advice. Do not rely on what a neighbor told you or a Facebook post or even what the rules were at your last renewal, because states update these things all the time. Go to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety website, that is iihs.org, and look up your own state by age. It takes about 5 minutes, and it gives you the exact current rules for where you live. That is the single most useful thing you can do the moment this video ends. Now, the thing I promised to warn you about. In a growing number of states, your doctor is not just allowed to report a medical concern to the DMV, they are legally required to. Not a choice, a legal duty. The conditions that can trigger this vary from state to state, but they often include a new diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's, seizure disorders, certain heart conditions, vision loss below the legal standard, and severe untreated sleep disorders. States with some form of mandatory physician reporting include California, Nevada, New Jersey, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. Here is why this matters in plain terms. If you receive one of those diagnoses, your doctor in those states may be required to notify the DMV, and that notification can quietly start a review of your license without you doing anything at all. Now, a review is not an automatic suspension. In most cases, it simply means the DMV mails you a letter asking for more information or a medical evaluation. But if you ignore that letter, that is when you can actually lose your license. So if you or someone you love has been recently diagnosed with anything serious, it is worth asking the doctor directly whether they are required to report in your state and what happens after that. Knowing in advance means you can respond calmly instead of being caught off guard. There is a related tool worth knowing about if the situation is reversed and you are the one worried about an older parent or spouse who is still driving. Every state has a confidential process that lets a family member ask the DMV to review a specific driver. The driver is not told who raised the concern. The DMV handles the evaluation through proper medical channels. This is not about snatching someone's keys on a whim. It is a formal, careful process, and it exists in every state if you ever truly need it. 2 more quick things before you go, and both of them are worth a minute of your time. First, Real ID. This one is not just a senior issue, it affects everyone who flies. As of May 7, 2025, you need a Real ID compliant license or a passport to board a domestic flight anywhere in the country. So check the top corner of your license right now. If you see a small gold or black star, you are all set. No star means you are not compliant yet, and you will need to visit the DMV in person with your Social Security card, proof of address, and current ID. And if you would rather not bother with any of that, a valid passport works at airport security just the same. And finally, a way to put real money back in your pocket. If you complete an approved defensive driving course, most insurance companies will knock 5 to 15% off your premium. And in many states, that discount is locked in for 3 full years. The AARP Smart Driver course is the most widely accepted one. It runs around $30, takes an afternoon to finish online, and you simply send the completion certificate to your insurer. On a typical $1,500 premium, a 10% discount saves you $150 a year, 3 years running. That is real money back from one quiet afternoon at the kitchen table. So here is the whole picture. The viral posts about a new federal law forcing tests on every senior are false, full stop, and you can stop worrying about them. But real state changes are happening, and some are genuinely good news. Illinois just raised its road test age to 87. California dropped the written exam for drivers 70 and older. Your doctor may be legally required to report certain diagnoses, and knowing that ahead of time is how you protect yourself. Real ID is now required to fly. So go check your license for that little star. And a $30 course can save you hundreds of dollars on insurance. Look up your own state's rules at iihs.org. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and I will see you in the next one.